Political reflections, my piece over the weekend and the third in just over 6 months was again about North Korea. A new history starts now, an age of peace from the starting point of history. The events that took place on Friday at the Truce village of Panmunjom and during the Inter-Korean summit were breathtaking for the Hollywood optics. The opening shot of Kim Jong-un surrounded by a phalanx of North Korean officials, later replayed my weekend piece and the third one about North Korea in about 7 months starts. A new history starts now, an age of peace from the starting point of history. The events that took place on Friday at the Truce village of Panmunjom and during the Inter-Korean summit were breathtaking for the Hollywood optics. The opening shot of Kim Jong-un surrounded by a phalanx of North Korean officials, later replayed as Chairman Kim sat in his presidential vehicle, surrounded by his ninja bodyguards, was almost as good as the opening sequence in P.T. Anderson's Boogie Nights. This was cinema of the highest level, which is no surprise when you consider that Kim Jong-il, the father, was obsessed with cinema and amassed arguably the world's largest personal film collection, over 20,000 bootlegged 35mm screening copies. Kim Jong-il also had a penchant for Hennessy parody cognac, and for 2 years in the mid-1990s he was the world's largest buyer of Hennessy parody cognac, importing up to $800,000 worth of the stuff a year. Kim Jong-il began his career as the head of the state's propaganda and agitation department, and it's clear that Kim Jong-un's sister, Kim Yo-jong, who holds the same role and evidently handles all the optics, is a chip off the old block. Friday was tip-top geopolitical optics. Mike Pompeo, the newly minted US Secretary of State, his predecessor was fired via Twitter, had visited Pyongyang the previous week and pronounced that the young North Korean leader was a smart guy who was doing his homework. Marwan Bishara was a little jaded by the optics and tweeted, "When pictures are the news and the symbols are the facts, cliches become truths and media turns into propaganda. For now, we are short on facts, long on images, and hence any perspective is likely to be speculative. Globally, we're being played in a game of nations which could produce more of the same or different." The smartness of the young Chairman Kim was also seen in his impromptu move, where Kim had moved cross into North Korea, a request which was apparently spur of the moment, impossible to refuse, but evidently planned. It's been a whiplash period, however. Only in September last year, North Korea was in its Rocket Man phase, firing rockets all over. It is a curve each of them feels unmistakably. It is the parabola. They must have guessed, once or twice guessed, and refused to believe that everything always collectively had been moving toward that purified shape latent in the sky, that shape of no surprise, no second chance, no return. That's DeLillo describing the trajectory of a rocket with the serial number 0000 in his book Gravity's Rainbow. And here we are now, the message Kim Jong-un left on the guest book: a new history starts now, an age of peace from the starting point of history. This handshake business has become a Malcolm Gladwell-like virus. Moon asked Kim when he would be able to go to the north, and Kim said, "Do you want me to come now?" according to South Korea's presidential spokesperson. The question remains as follows: Kim Jong-un can hardly forget what happened to Saddam Hussein and Muammar Gaddafi, both of whom met their ends after being defanged. So my question remains, what security guarantees can Trump provide to Kim that convince him to denuclearize? Offering up bulletproof security guarantees is the equivalent of threading the needle. Dollar strength late has been sapping support for safe haven assets like gold and the yen. In the event that geopolitical tensions continue to ebb, we should see both safe haven assets drift lower. The South Korean Kospi index is plus 1.01% in 2018 and has room to run higher on a peace dividend rally. The issue is now what happens with Iran, where the US president is seemingly determined to upend an agreement he probably has not even read. This is the front page of Saturday's Rodong Sinmun newspaper in North Korea by Martin Williams. The North Korean people have shown the leaders at the border, Kim Jong-un stepping into South Korea. This is the handshake and the unplanned moment when Moon stepped into the north briefly. That's from the North Korea news org. And I said that was genius geopolitics and optimal optics. This is the opening scene when he comes down the stairs, surrounded by his ninja bodyguards. Again, very good optics. Which took me back to that quote from 1997, information warfare will not be couched in the rationale of geopolitics, the author suggests, but will be spawned, like any Hollywood drama, out of raw emotions. Emotions rather than strategy will set the terms of information warfare struggles. Here, this is from RT, this is the full footage of Moon Jae-in and Kim Jong-un arriving at a border village for this historic summit. Kim Jong apparently handles all the optics from what I can gather, and of course their father, he was obsessed with cinema. North Korea's KCTV broadcasting yesterday's summit for the first time. And this photo of the year, a snapshot from last night's summit dinner. That's pretty impressive. Perhaps a Trump joke. Korea CDS is tightening on headlines. You'd see a further substantial tightening happen there. And in this infographic, The Economist shows what North and South Korea would gain if they were reunified. John Bolton said Libya denuclearization model for North Korea. Karl R.E. Marx, yes, that worked out so well for Gaddafi.